Hey, you're listening to the Pirates and Poets podcast. Try that 3 times real fast. Ha!
Hello, Pirates. Welcome to episode number 2 of the Pirates and Poets podcast. I'm John Boy.
And I'm Dammit Earl.
He's Dammit Earl. We've got a very fun and informative episode planned for you. Here in just a few minutes, you're going to hear an interview that we've done with Kelly Railean of Railean Spirits. But first, I want to thank everybody who has taken some time to give us some feedback on the first episode that came out last week. Cooler Dave, we still haven't heard from you.
What's up with that, Cooler Dave?
Are you out there, Cooler Dave?
You were the one person we really thought would be listening, and apparently you just didn't. That means we're not talking to anybody except ourselves.
You had one job, Dave.
You had one job.
One job. Seriously, if you enjoyed the last episode or if you enjoyed this episode, we would appreciate you sharing it on Facebook or on Twitter or just telling your friends about it. You can listen to it on the Pirates and Poets website. We now have a podcast button you can click on. You can also find it on SoundCloud, and we are working on getting on iTunes. In fact, by the time this episode comes out, it may be on iTunes or it may not, but we'll be there soon.
It may or it may not. That's logical, John Boy. That makes a lot of sense.
He's mocking me.
Yes, I am.
My wife would be so proud of you. All right. At this time, we are happy to introduce Miss Kelly Railean, who has been a great, great friend to Pirates and Poets. Her and her husband, Matt, were the original sponsors of the event when we started it back in 2011. Been great supporters of us and trop rock music.
Ever since.
Ever since. If you've never heard of Kelly, you're about to learn all about her and her great products. But she is the founder and president of Railean Distillers, which is located in San Leon, Texas. Sunny San Leon.
Not Sunday. Sunny.
Sunny San Leon. And they have a mayor, apparently.
Apparently they do, but I didn't know that.
They're unincorporated, but they have a mayor.
It makes no sense to me. I don't know.
Maybe we need to call Kelly back and figure that out.
We're going to have to investigate a little.
Yeah. We'll file a complaint with like the investigative reporters on the news. All right, but before we get to the interview, Earl, can you give us a status update on your computer?
Well, the computer is working at the moment. I was able to restore it to an earlier point where the little hacker hadn't got to me yet, but I'm ready any day for that little Russian to come back. I just don't know what's going to happen, but I'm guessing I'm going to have to break down and, I don't know, throw it out the window or something.
Don't do that. There's a pool right outside your window.
Yeah, I know. But it's too cold to get in the pool now.
So
what good is a pool?
So you're going to throw your computer in the pool, and then you're going to have to get in the pool to get your computer back out.
I'll use a hook and get it out. I'm not going to climb in there. This is so depressing. It's like 40 degrees here. I'm having to wear a jacket. Not only pants, but a jacket too. Come on.
I heard a rumor that you were walking around Kroger with gloves on today.
I was. I actually wore gloves.
Gloves. I don't own gloves, dude.
Well, I do.
I don't own gloves, a tie, or dress shoes.
I was wearing gloves and a hoodie on my head.
I'd like to see you in a hoodie. That'd be cute.
It was.
Okay, enough with the bullshit. Let's get on to the interview with Kelly Railean. Enjoy. Hello, Kelly. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How you doing?
I'm great. Welcome to Uncle Earl's humble abode here.
I love my humble abode.
Yes.
Nice digs. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, it's not really nice.
Yeah.
You're just lucky that the neighbors are gone.
The pitter-patter of little feet.
Oh, my. We're going to record that pretty soon.
The toddler is gone, and the Russian hacker has been expelled from Earl's computer.
Well, for a few days. We'll see how that goes.
Life is good.
He'll be back. All right, Kelly. Could you take a minute and just let everybody out there, if there is anybody out there, a brief overview of you and your company?
Yeah, I am Kelly Railean. I'm the owner, founder, and master distiller of Railean Distillers. Founded the company along with my husband. And I run the day-to-day operations and everything down there. And I mostly make rum, but we also make vodka, blue agave spirits, which is kind of like tequila. And I'm working on a whiskey right now, too. We're one of the oldest distilleries in the state, and we're located in sunny San Leon, Texas. And we just opened the Railean Buccaneer Bar this fall.
Cool. When did y'all first start making the rum?
We started actually making everything in 2007. It was 2005 though when we actually started the company. It took a year and a half, 2 years to get the place built and permits, believe it or not, but to get permits to actually manufacture liquor is not an easy task, and there's a bit of work involved with that. So we started everything, got our DBA, and had the conception of everything back in 2005, but it was 2007 before we were legally able to make rum.
Earl, I was trying to think today, when did we become aware of Railean? I'm thinking
It was
late 2007, early 08.
Yeah, just about. Yeah, it was sometime in 2007. It pretty soon after you got going.
And I think we probably met you 6
Yeah,
months
we had
or a year
yeah,
after.
we had already known each other through Jerry and
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
kind of a whole lot of other folks. So we'd already
So,
I know
Were
we
you
knew each other.
were you at the Angels and Tropical Shirts benefit over here at the clubhouse in 2007?
I don't know if I've been to so many of them here. I know there were some of them were for different folks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
I don't
I don't
remember.
recall, but that's
I'm just wondering if that's
it's
where
been so
we
long
met.
ago.
I really kind of think that's at least where I became aware of your product, if not actually meeting you, was then, I think. So
I have a quick question. When did you start working in the liquor business? What you did that before you
Yeah,
got into the distillery?
2006 or was it 2000? No, not 2000. I'm sorry, 1997. I interviewed with a distributing company and I started selling wine. I did that for almost 11 years before I left that to actually start and take over, the day-to-day operations at the rum company.
Great.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
awesome. So you're actually from, much like my wife, you're an Eskimo from the great cold Midwest, right?
Yes, I was born in Michigan. I moved to Texas as quickly as I could. The day after my wedding, shortly after my 20th birthday, I moved to Texas. So I've been here 23 years. I've been here longer now than I was in Michigan, but
Cool.
I was born and raised in Michigan and we moved to Texas.
So
Bless
Matt,
your heart.
Yeah, yeah.
so Matt's from up north too?
Yes, we're from pretty much the same hometown. Same
Awesome.
area.
That's
I
awesome.
don't think I realized that Matt was from up there. I've
Yeah.
known you were from Michigan for a long time. I
Yep.
don't think I
We met
realized
at
that.
work. We worked at Arby's restaurant together. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
cool. Let's see here. So you spent some time, I guess, working still with the wine distributor while you were getting Railean off the ground?
Yeah, that first couple years when we purchased our land and we put the business plan together and we were coming up with recipes and ideas and how are we going to do this and is this even going to happen or not? I still worked from 2005 to 2007. I still worked with the distributing company I was with selling wine, but I had to quit in 2007 because the state of Texas does not allow you to work for a wine distributing company and have a permit to manufacture alcohol. So I had to quit my job in order to get our permit. I had our Fed permit already, but the state made me quit my job. And then I went to work for, I don't know if y'all remember my pickle car. Remember when I worked for Del Dixie Pickles?
I do not. I do
I
not
worked for
remember
Del
that.
Dixie Pickles for about a year, and I literally had a pickle car. It was a car covered in pickle graphics and everything. It was fantastic. So, yeah, I had to do all that and work. I worked nights and weekends and fun stuff like that for the rum company because we had to get it up and running, and it costs a lot of money to buy stills and tanks and barrels and all that stuff. So we really needed both incomes. So we both work jobs for. I mean, Matt's still working another job. He only works with me on the weekends.
Right, gotcha.
Great.
I'm really glad I didn't know you back then because I have like this very strange fear of pickles. So I don't know that we could be friends if I had known you back
If
then.
you would have seen me pulling up in the pickle car.
I would have ran like hell.
I love
yes.
pickles. I love pickles, and I don't know what his problem is.
Okay, Kelly, we kind of already got into this a little bit here, but let's back up just a second. What possessed you to start a rum distillery and start making your own rum and selling it legally? You're not even a bootlegger. You were legal from day one.
Yeah, we were legal from day one. We found out though, my husband's family, his grandfather found out, I guess he was a rum runner back in the day in Michigan going back and forth between Canada and Detroit. So believe it or not, we come from a line of rum runners, but no, we are legal. Really the whole thing was sailing and trop rock music and pirates and all that kind of fun stuff. We were into all that stuff, shoot, back in the early 1990s, mid 1990s, and we learned how to sail in the mid to late 1990s and bought a sailboat in 2000. And when we really picked up sailing, we started collecting rum because that's what sailors do. They drink rum and they're into pirates and they talk like pirates and dress like pirates and go to islands and, pillage and plunder, all that fun stuff. And it was just something we were passionate about. And we had quite a rum collection. And one day while hanging out at our favorite spot, which was the Buccaneer Bar in San Leon, after probably a couple too many rum cocktails, we were drinking some rum and trying different rums. And there was this one product that everyone's like, oh, this rum's horrible. This sucks. We could probably make better rum than this, is really how it started. And that's really why we got into it. And no one was doing it. Back when we started this, there were only 2 other distilleries in the great state of Texas. So it was something very, very unique. And that's why we thought, let's do that. We thought we'd end up in the wine business. We even have a handful of acres in California. But looking at doing that, there's hundreds of wineries in Texas and, maybe thousands in California. And we thought, wow, a micro distillery, it's something new, something different. So that's why we ran with it.
Yeah. Tito's, I'm guessing, is older
Yes,
than y'all.
Tito's was the first distillery in Texas. Yes, and then Paula's Orange Liqueur. Those were the
I've
two.
never heard of them.
Yeah, they were they limoncello, orangecello. They were the 2 that were in operation when we started working on our stuff back in 2005.
Awesome.
Now, I know you are the only certified American.
Yeah, we are the only certified made in USA rum currently in the country. There's a lot of other rums, but we are actually certified through the Federal Trade Commission and a third-party audit system. Actually, all of our products are certified, not just our rum, but our blue agave spirits and our vodka. There are, I want to say there's probably 4 or 5 vodkas that are certified made in USA too, but as far as rums and the blue agave spirits, there are no other companies that are certified.
If you don't mind, just let everybody know what that actually means, because
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that everybody really understands.
No, a lot of folks just put the words USA or made in USA or Texas or whatever state you're in on your product. You're not really supposed to do that unless you can actually prove that you really did make it here. So we're talking about you took a raw material. In our case, you ferment, you distill a raw material. And then even on top of that, packaging. Most folks forget about packaging. You can't just buy a bottle from China or Mexico and put your product in it and call it certified made in USA. Your packaging has to be USA too. So we use American made bottles. Our labels are made here in Texas. The ink used to make our labels, there's all these things you have to deal with. And we had to actually change a couple of our vendors in order to get that certification. And then the audit system you go through, they can pull your records and check with your suppliers to make sure that I'm buying this USA bottle and it's more expensive, but next year I quit and I buy something. You can't do that. So that's the whole idea, is being certified, is that, it is an all American product. You're not going to have to worry about, oh, it was in Chinese glass that had lead in it and you're going to get sick. You don't have to worry about any of that when it comes to our stuff.
See, that's amazing to me. That's why I definitely wanted to bring that up. So
Yes, that is very cool.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of that.
You should be very proud of
Yeah.
it. So you and Matt sit down one day and you decide, we're going to do this. What's the legal process of starting?
Well, first of all, we really didn't say we're going to do this. Matt said we're going to do this, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of went kicking and screaming and went through a little crisis there, because to quit my job, I loved what I did. I really did. I mean, I really did like selling wine. I still love wine to death, and it was hard. It was really hard. I mean, and then to go to work for a pickle company, and not that that was bad. It was fine, but it's just, it was really, it was crazy and a lot of work. And the legal aspects of it. At first, you have to deal with the federal government, getting your Fed permits to manufacture alcohol. Then you have to go through the state. There's so many aspects that people don't even realize where to put it. You can't just slap something like a distillery anywhere. That's why we're in San Leon, and think of where most of the distilleries and breweries are in our state. They're usually kind of in the middle of nowhere, because it's difficult to get permits to do that. Number one, because if you're in an incorporated area, it's going to be very expensive. There's more taxes and regulations and things of that nature. And number two, you have to put up a ad in all the papers and everything saying that I intend to do XYZ here, and anyone that wants to complain or has a problem with it can have a problem with it. You have to go through your county judge to get approved. There's a lot of, and that's just the basics. That's not even getting into equipment and funding and all that fun stuff, building a building. So it was crazy. It was a lot of work. It's a lot of stress too, and it's tough on a relationship.
in my past life, I had to deal with a lot of those regulations and trying to get the authorizations, and it is a nightmare. There's no doubt.
It's a
hard
bit
process.
easier. It's a bit easier now because there's so many more of us that are doing this now. They have the actual paperwork for it now. Back when we started, they gave us winery permits and beer permits and made us cross out, what was applicable to us and what wasn't. And then, they'd come back, oh, you can't have a wine. Well, it's not a winery, it's a distillery. And it was really, really difficult, more so with the state, just because there were only really 2 other distilleries in operation, when we started our company.
Wow.
For the people who are listening who may not be familiar with our area, we are recording right now in the Kemah Clear Lake Shores area, which is right on the Harris-Galveston County line, right on Galveston Bay. And San Leon is what, 5 or 6 miles south of us?
Yeah, maybe 7, 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
About that.
South, heading towards Galveston, and it's an unincorporated area?
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because like you said, probably the Kemah City folks may not really appreciate you.
Oh, they probably would, but Kemah, that's some pricey real estate, number one, and you've
True.
got you've got a large company that's already there doing so much stuff, and it's very touristy, and it'd be great to put something there, but we looked and we couldn't afford we needed a decent amount of land too. We've got not quite an acre, but we've got 3/4 or so of an acre, and to get that in Kemah would be really difficult, and
Sure.
we wouldn't have
I'd
had
never
any
thought
money
about
left
that.
over to buy the still and the equipment and build a building. And yeah.
So you started out in 2007 when you released your first product.
Yep.
And your first product was the white rum, is
Yes,
that correct?
white rum. Hmm.
And then from there you went into the
Reserve XO aged rum. Then the small cask single barrel aged rum.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the good sipping stuff.
I'm just going to step back and let you two talk rum for a minute. 'Cause
No.
I don't drink rum. I'm an agave guy.
I know
so,
you like the agave.
So I'll let you two talk
agave
rum.
and
No,
Sprite.
it's okay. I get excited when we hear about rum, and especially the small cask. That's an excellent rum.
Yeah, more
So-
for sipping, especially on cold nights like this. It'll warm you up definitely.
All I know is there's some really good hot chocolate that's been spiked here with some white rum, and it is great. I'm telling you, I'm enjoying it tonight. So
It is the cold front that we talked about in the last episode has gone into a Arctic front.
I know,
So-
darn Arctic blast. This is ridiculous.
I know. So
we are in the tundra now. It's
And we're
moved-
all wearing pants.
I
You
hate
had
this.
mentioned that you hate wearing
I
pants.
hate wearing pants.
I don't usually wear pants either. I wear shorts or skirts, and I'm wearing pants.
When I wear a skirt, people usually talk, but I do
You know.
sometimes.
yes. So Kelly, when did you start making the agave product, and what inspired you to add that to your line of products?
Well, again, we don't like to do what other people do. We're definitely different. So number one, nobody was doing that. Nobody was making a so-called tequila in parentheses, and I say that because for anyone that doesn't know, it's basically like tequila. We just can't call it tequila because we don't make it in the tequila region. So we make it here in Texas. There's actually a region in and around Jalisco, Mexico, that is the tequila region. In order to have that name tequila on there, it's got to actually be made in that region. So we decided to make it because one of the number one drink here in Texas is a margarita, and we're on the border. We share a border with Mexico. Where is the blue agave grown? That's the plant used to make tequila and our agave spirits. It's grown in Mexico, so it really kind of made sense, and we thought it'd be great for margaritas. We were making rumaritas, with our white rum. We used to make margaritas all the time, and we thought, what? Wonder if we could get some of this blue agave stuff, and we could buy tequila too and just rebottle it or do something to it and then bottle it and call it an agave spirit. But we thought, no, let's really try and handcraft some. And there were some folks that were that had such a so-called Texas tequilas, which they were a marketing company with an office here in Texas, and they had a company in Mexico, a distillery in Mexico, make a tequila label for them. But we thought, no, we're gonna really make it. So that was 2010.
2010.
The silver. Yep.
I was so excited when you came out with your agave.
Yeah. Thanks. Good.
'Cause, as I mentioned, I don't drink rum. I'm an agave tequila
Uh-huh.
guy, so I was excited.
He used to, but now he's just afraid.
I am kind of afraid
Bad
of
night on
now.
rum.
Many bad nights on rum.
Everyone has something that they can't drink. We all do. We've all got one or two.
Yes. In 2010 was when you came out
Yeah,
with the
that's when the silver agave, the blanco. That's when
Okay.
the unaged agave we released that.
And I think you mentioned this, but I just want to stress that
Uh-huh.
you cannot call tequila unless it is made in a very specific region of Mexico, correct?
Yes, you could be in Mexico across the street from the tequila region, following all the rules, making the product, and you would not be able to call it tequila. The best way to think about it is to think of champagne or Chianti, Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. There's a lot of things like we make Parmesan cheese everywhere in the world, right? But real Parmigiano Reggiano, to have that actual name on it, has to come from that region in Italy. Tequila, champagne, a lot of things, scotch, bourbon. There's a lot of products like that, even certain types of cashmere. You wouldn't believe all the crazy stuff that tequila happens to be one of those products. You wouldn't want to call it tequila either because that's just not right. It's not the right thing to do. And the reason we have these rules is that some other country or entity or person doesn't come in and cheapen something up or steal a name and slap it on something that it's not. And then you as the consumer would purchase it thinking it's this high quality product and hey, it's really not. It's just something made to look like or act like or taste like whatever it is. So that's why we have all these regulations.
Got you.
Well, you expanded the agave from the white, the blanco.
Uh-huh.
Now, what other agaves are you?
We have a reposado, which is what means rested, and that's got to be aged in a barrel for more than 2 months, but not more than 364 days. And we age that an average of 8 months. We released that, I'd say about 2 years ago. And then we just released on International Talk Like a Pirate Day, actually. We released our añejo, which that means aged, and that has to be in a barrel for more than 365 days. And we actually barrel aged that 2.5 to 3 years. And we just released that on September 19th.
It is heaven.
And
good.
Haven't we already finished off one bottle of that?
No.
Only
it's
one,
not gone?
only one bottle?
No.
No, I'm talking about John Boy, not.
No, that is not for one little sip and then you put it back up. Not to be drank in mass. at
That's
once.
not for regular company. No, that's
No, it's not for regular company. That's right.
Okay, Kelly, can you tell us a little bit about the distilling process that goes on with making these
with
liquors?
making spirits. Sure. So before we get to distillation, though, we actually have to talk about fermentation
Oh, yeah.
because you ferment something before you distill it. What we're going to do is we're going to take our raw material. It's either going to be sugarcane molasses for rum, corn mash for our vodka and whiskey, and then blue agave nectar for our blue agave spirits. So you're going to take that raw material and you're going to pump it. Somehow it's rather difficult to do that because some of that stuff is really, really thick, the corn mash especially. You'll pump it into a big tank. I've got 500-gallon tanks. They're fermenting tanks. You add yeast and you add water. And the yeast will metabolize or eat the sugar and convert it into alcohol. It's just called fermentation. Layman's terms, it's making wine or beer.
Yes.
If they talked about this in high school chemistry, I might have done better in that class.
Yeah, could have. I have a lot of college students that come to my place that are either in chemical engineering classes or things like that. They come down and check it out, and I go through all that with them too. So
Wow,
that makes sense.
That's pretty cool.
After you ferment, you're going to take your wine or beer, what we call wash or wort in the liquor business, and you're going to pump it into a still. Y'all see my still, right? The big copper
yeah.
column
Mhm.
kind of rocket ship looking thing in the middle of the building?
Yes, it's awesome.
Well, that's a column reflux still. You're going to heat it up, and you've got everything in the kettle of that still. And basically, all distillation is we want to separate out the ethanol molecule from everything else that's in there. And we do that by vapor point. Ethanol turns into a vapor at 78 degrees Celsius. There's a lot of other stuff in there. There's different alcohols, there's leftover molasses, there's water, all sorts of stuff. All of those molecules are going to turn into a vapor at a different temperature. So really what we're doing is we're flashing off. We're turning that ethanol into a vapor, bringing it up to the top of the column, moving it over to the condenser, then condensing it. So the condenser's cool. It's got water being applied to it, so it keeps it cooler. So once that vapor hits the condenser, it's going to go ahead and condense from a vapor back into a liquid. And that's how the rum just comes off the still like that, or the vodka or whiskey or whatever it happens to be I'm making that day.
And if nobody's seen this thing, it looks like a Jules Verne version of a rocket ship. It has portholes that go up the tower.
Those are sight glasses.
And it looks like something out of 20,000 Leagues Above the Sea, maybe. I don't know.
Or if you happen to work at a chemical plant or an oil refinery, or you happen to drive past one of those in Texas City, Pasadena, Deer Park, around these parts, it looks like a lot of the same type of equipment because it really is a lot of the same stuff. It's just what we do is a much smaller scale, and we're doing it for consumption as opposed to making chemicals or taking crude oil and cracking it into leaded, unleaded diesel, etc.
Gotcha. Okay.
So once it comes off the still, that's when you put it in the barrels?
Well, there's a couple things we can do with it. If it's going to go into a barrel, if it's our aged product, if it's our silver tequila, our vodka, or our white rum, that actually isn't aged. That'll be distilled another time or two, depending on the product that it is, and then it'll be cut with water and filtered. Comes off the still really high proof, y'all. White lightning. You ever heard white lightning?
Oh,
That
yes.
means it's
Yes.
coming right off the still, and your proof there is going to be your percent alcohol will be anywhere from about 70-80% alcohol all the way on up to about 90-ish% alcohol, depending on how I'm running the still and what product I'm making. So it's got to be, you got to cut it with water before you put it in the bottle, because that's some real high proof stuff.
Awesome.
Gotcha. And some people may not know the difference in percentages and proof.
Sure. Proof just means 2 times percent. So if it's 40, 40% in the bottle, that's going to be 80 proof. So you just multiply by 2.
So 180 proof is pretty much
90%.
paint thinner.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we already talked about the ages for your agave products. How long do you age the small cask rum?
Small cask rum is going to be aged usually about 3 years, maybe on up to about 4 years. And the main issue with a small cask is that it's actually made in only brand new barrels. So we use only new barrels to age that product. Most of our other products will be aged in barrels that we've already used for, say, the small cask and Reserve XO. But small cask has to be a new barrel.
Okay, cool. And that is how it's made. The magic is done.
Piece of cake, yeah.
Kelly's a magician. Now, could she make the hacker disappear?
I don't know about that.
No, I am not technically savvy when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I'm hoping you can, though. We need to find this little Russian. Thank you, Kelly, for that first half of that interview. I just want to let everybody know that because of the length of this interview, we've decided to make this a 2-part episode on the podcast. So thank you once again, Kelly, for that great interview. And we just want to say thank you to all the people who are listening to us. And we're still looking for Cooler Dave. We don't know where he's gone or what's going on. We're starting to worry about him a little.
Yeah. And just so everybody knows, we're kind of shooting for 30 to 40 minutes an episode. If you think that's great, or if you'd like to see it a little bit longer, let us know, because we're trying to figure this out as we go. So
we're making it up as we go.
We're making it up. Feedback is welcome.
And once again, remember to find us on piratesandpoets.net, on Facebook, Twitter, John Boy's email.
Damn it, Earl's email.
Yes, anything you can. We're somewhere.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day. I'm going to put myself away now.
Thanks for listening to the Pirates and Poets podcast. Please remember to support all of our sponsors and visit us online at www.piratesandpoets.net.